Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cocktails and Rocktails with me, your most notorious groupie, Allison Rouse. We know author of We've Got Tonight, The Life and Times of Notorious Groupie, and these other little books right here, you guys. Where you can find that, my merchandise, Patreon, everything. Go down in that description and tickle about, see what you find, because there's some pretty cool stuff. And as always, thank you guys for being here, for all the love, for all the support, for helping with this channel, and really wanting to help me grow. You guys, you are so incredibly awesome. I can never thank you enough, and that's why I always like to start by being thankful for you guys and our community here. And welcome to the new members. Stick around. Go in the comments. We have a lot of really amazing people here that enjoy each other's company, so come and enjoy with us. And you guys, today we've got another little story that's way out of rock and roll, because you know, a lot of groupies are associated with just rock and roll, heavy metal. That's the average idea people have of groupies. But there are groupies for all kinds of stuff. And a true groupie who really, truly loves the music, not just one silly little song, but really loves the fucking music, branches out into 12 different directions. And today we are going to be talking about none other than the man himself, in those awesome gold genie pants. We're going to talk about MC Hammer. And when Danny and I were with MC Hammer, we're going to read from the book, because people seem to be enjoying this, and they're really getting like a different perspective by actually hearing me read it and the attitude. So again, thank you guys for that. And our cocktail for the day, just because it sounded so good and I love him, is a good Bloody Mary. And you guys, you want a good Bloody Mary? If you're ever around Bush or a bunch of cool bands that my friend Oris is FOH for, he makes the world's best Bloody Mary. It is so incredible. He will never give away the secret, but it's so good. So all right, everybody, grab your Marys, hold them tight, kick up your feet, and let's have a little cocktails and rap tails. Cheers, big ears. Ooh, spicy just the way I love it. And just a P.S., these green beans are a nod to Oris, because that's what he puts in his. Not celery, the green beans. I gotta have another drink. So good. Love it. Okay, so let's get started. So this is, I believe, about 91, let me see, 1990. This is after Danny and I had gone to Seattle, left Seattle, and gone down to Las Cruces, New Mexico. And I talk about this in the LA Guns video. But we're going to talk about MC Hammer. So let's see. Somewhere in August, and after Danny and I had gone down to Las Cruces, a couple roadie friends called and asked their favorite girls to come for a few days off in Albuquerque. They were on the road with MC Hammer. It was our friend Mike. It was Tony Bon Jovi, John's brother. Yeah, he's a roadie, guys. They were on the road with MC Hammer. Yep, you heard me. MC Hammer. Living in the little dusty town had been getting stale, even with the shows we had been hanging out in El Paso for. Before we even hung up the phone and finished writing down the tour info, our bags were packed and we headed down the desert highway to our second family. Because it's the road family, as I always say, because we are family out there. As Danny and I stopped for some gas at some station fresh from the Twilight Zone, I couldn't help but think about it. The backstage life had me. I had long since been lost to its grip and wasn't struggling to get away. I was happy, throwing caution and pesky jobs into the wind and hopping on the next rock and roll bandwagon. This world satisfied my gypsy soul. In that moment, I knew there really was no turning back. In much the same way a woman cannot go back when she is forced into marriage by pregnancy, I was off the market to the rest of life. And that's really how I felt. You know, I was 19, 20 years old. So I was 20 years old. So when you're 20 years old, you have all this amazing abandon and freedom and fierceness and no fear. And that's what we were at the time, you know. Especially Danny and I. Danny and I have that same fierce freedom that we were not afraid to take that challenge to jump on that tour bus, to move to that city. And she and I did a lot of that together. All right, but I wasn't sad. Rock and roll had given me a life. Why would I ever want to leave it now? I was just about to turn 20 years old and had already started a new adventure that most people will never experience. I was taking on the rock life, all the rock life had to offer, for good or bad. But for now, I jumped into the driver's seat and took on the road to rock and roll, really rap and roll. We arrived at the band's hotel, away from home, grabbed our little bags out of the trunk, and strutted our heels onward to the lobby, where Danny and I were stopped dead in our tracks. And it was really true. People talk about MC Hammer and how he kind of went broke because he wanted to give back to everybody that was part of his community. So he had this giant entourage of people. Forget the road crew, which was about 40 guys, 50 guys, 60 guys, whatever. But just his own personal entourage of people who he was friends with that he just wanted to make sure had a better life was another like 30, 40 people. And nobody knew everything that they did. So this tour, like approaching it was really overwhelming because of that little rock and roll or rap and roll entourage. It was just too big, too much, too ostentatious. So I had never seen anything quite like it. When Danny and I entered the hotel lobby in Albuquerque, it filled with half of Compton. Don't take that wrong. Sometimes you're writing at 2 o'clock in the morning, the weirdest things come out. I swear, MC Hammer has been notorious for the overgrown entourage he lost most of his pop rap money on. And they were all standing there waiting to be checked in. And so were our friends. Mike and Tony made their way through the clusterfuck to our sides. Mike gave us our room keys. They had gotten our own abode for the duration. Because that's rock and roll. It's not that we're not always sleeping with guys. We're just maybe there to hang out and hook up with friends and have a good time and bring a little life and energy and some sense to the road. You know, little camaraderie. So that's what we were there for. And they were trying to hurry us to the elevators in hopes that we would not be noticed. They wanted us to themselves. That so did not happen. MC himself and most of his crew had noticed the two pretty girls dressed and ready for rock and roll in the middle of their rap melee. Of course we would not go unnoticed. The night was now open for anything. And anything came in the form of opium. Oh, that opium. It was the first time I have tried opium. Not like injected, just smoked it on top of a little weed. So I liked it a lot. I did. But it was the only time I did it. Maybe I did it once or twice more. So like I said, I was just usually a drinker and a weed smoker. So, but the opium, yeah, I have to admit, I really liked that opium. I had never done it before this trip, but let me tell you, I liked it. Opium and honey mustard dressing. Those were the two things I had discovered on this outing, and I still love honey mustard dressing. And it still makes me think, I think it was at Chili's or TGI Fridays that was next to the hotel, and we would eat there a lot, so anyway, that's where I discovered it. Okay. Only one could last. And that was the honey mustard dressing that lasted. Our roadie friends, Danny and some of MC guys, all smoked a few and made our way to the edges of the city. Because if you look at Albuquerque, they've got like these slight mountains around the rims of Albuquerque. So that's where we went. So to the edges of the city where we stood and looked down at the lights. We made a fire and drank what we had brought with us. The trip was kicking in and smooth running. The night had ended back at the hotel, with Danny and I trying to shut out a couple of MC Hammer's dancers from our room before Mike came down the hall and to our rescue. He made sure to let them know that these groups were no hood rats. We were ladies, which explained our own room. We were family. The dancers sulked down the hall to the elevators with evil eyes. Mike tucked us in and shut the door behind him. And that is the rock and roll I had chosen to spend my life with. Because let me tell you what, there really is, and I'll do a video on this soon. There really is a difference between the rap groupies and the rock groupies. Don't get me wrong, both women are friggin' awesome. But there's just a different rapport and an approach and stuff like that. And the rap women have just the same strength, control. Like, they are strong, beautiful women whose destinies are in their hands, just like us rock groupies. So don't get me wrong, but there definitely is a whole different world. So we go to MC Hammer, and we got to see MC Hammer in his prime. We got to see all this happening that you guys heard on the news, or, you know, gossiping or stuff like that. And we also got to expand our musical education and our musical tastes. Because on TikTok, the guy said, he said, what is the weirdest thing that most people, you'll say about music, but most people will not believe? And a guy came on and he was talking about how people who listen to one kind of genre are more likely to stick within a certain boundary and not step out, not travel, not try different foods, not do all kinds of things. But people who have several different tastes in music are more apt to take that adventure, to take that traveling, to talk to more people outside of their own world and stuff like that. And really is true. Because think about those groupies from the 70s. All you hear about is rock and roll. And you don't hear of them tripping out of their genre or meeting all kinds of different people. But then you come to my channel, and I've got a plethora of something and everybody that some of you have never heard of, or, you know, a lot of people rock and roll weren't real big MC Hammer fans. Although we all know the videos of the Running Man and the pants and stuff like that. But it was really fun, really getting to experience different genres, different attitudes, meeting different people. Because the next night at the show, do I go into that? Because I see my... So Danny and I returned to Las Cruces with the fire to get the fuck out. But in the meantime, we saved a few dollars from our teenage jobs, and we still hung out with our beloved backstage. And that's when we go into LA Guns, which I've already done. So anyway, yeah, for those of you who are tuning in from TikTok or who were born from the almost famous generation, you guys are so stuck in one tiny, tiny moment of rock and roll and one tiny, tiny genre of music. You know, because music really is, for me, it's the best education. It is the never-ending quest. Well, excuse me. Kind of had a little cough there. It's like Kip Winger was coming back up. I don't know. My throat had some flashback to Kip Winger. Just bleh. Anyway. So yeah, like music, it brings so many of us together. And our community here shows that 100%. Because we all like all kinds of different musics. We come from different walks of life, different areas of the world, different political places, different experiences. But guess what? Right here, we all converge. And none of that matters. Because that's music. And same with MC Hammer. Because it was a blast. And we were all standing on the edge of the city with a couple of the dancers and stuff like that. Just smoking some opium and looking at the lights and having a campfire and just hanging out. You don't hear a lot of other groupies. Oh, I passed out in the hotel lobby and I'll buck cherry, you know. Oh, I take a lot of pictures with Keith Moon, that type of stuff. It's very, very localized. So I hope you guys enjoy the fact that I have a much broader spectrum. And the show with MC Hammer was amazing. We all went back to the hotel the night after and just smoked some more opium. We hung out with MC Hammer. We had drinks. We laughed. And it was so great to see that no matter what type of music is, our musical road family is one and the same. So, loved it. And I hope you guys had fun listening to this little story. Because, like I said, it's really cool to meet all kinds of different people. And to be able to have these memories with them. And to reach outside and be something different than what the regular world thinks a groupie is. Because, like I said, people think all groupies are just very localized to rock and roll. Hi, Beluga. My kitty's over here. So, hope you guys enjoy stretching your legs with me, because Lord knows I did. All right, you guys. Don't forget, got a lot of cool stuff coming up. Everything's on order. It's taking a little bit longer than I thought to get everything in. So just bear with me. I do have a lot of cool stuff that I'm going to be doing for you guys, and I'm really excited. So thank you guys for all the love. And for everybody who's haunting me or just joining, just hit that subscribe button, hit the share, hit the like, you guys. Let's spread me out here, because the thing is, if TikTok gets banned, all these huge creators and dumb wannabe groupies who are so stuck in that little tiny genre are going to be inundating YouTube. So let's keep the real cool creators here on YouTube at the top of the food chain, okay? Because we really need something different. We need to shake up rock and roll and not make it some Hollywood fantasy. Let's bring the reality, the real family, back into it. All right, guys. So don't forget, hit the subscribe, hit the like, hit my bells, and we will see you next time on Cocktails and Rocktails. Cheers, big ears.